Hey y'all, this Filthy Glamour checking in, and this was my first time doing my mannequin makeup, and she cute, right? So if you want to see how I got this cute neon look, stay tuned. Now you know you're supposed to start off everything with sanitation, because cleanliness is next to godliness, and that's what they teach you in school anyway. So I just took some 70% alcohol, sprayed her down, and cleaned her off, because she's not new. I don't know why I'm just now deciding to do her makeup. But yeah, wiping her down, getting her ready. And I did watch a few videos, and they started with the foundation, so that's what I started with. For foundation, I use my Maybelline Fit Me in the shade Tofu, and I'm using my Smashbox foundation brush along with the beauty blender. I was just alternating between the two to see which one I like the best, and I kind of like my foundation brush better because it was more of a paint brush. Now this mannequin surface is quite different from skin for sure. In comparison, if you've ever did like funeral makeup, then it puts you in the mind frame of that. Like the skin isn't absorbing the makeup, it's pretty much just coating it or laying there on top of it. So you want to continue to put the foundation on every nook and cranny of the mannequin, and that can be one of the most time consuming parts of it. I did decide to go ahead and prime her eyes eventually, because I just put foundation on everything just to make it like a blank canvas, because she does have like the dark smoky eye look, and I was kind of worried about that because for one, like I said, this isn't normal skin. This is just like you're just laying things on top of it. So one false move in the black, you can see the black again, and that kind of concerned me. But you got to see it through, my girl, and that's what we did. So at first, like I told you, I was just playing it safe. Then I just thought, you know what? Put foundation on everything. I'm starting anew. I was feeling real spicy, so I just put it on everything. I didn't know if I wanted to change a lip color or nothing. I'm just like, you know what? I need a blank canvas. So here we are. And after this, we're going to start working on her eyebrows. I went in with a eyebrow pencil from my cosmetic line called Filthyglamourthebrand. And what you want to do is just outline the eyebrow, and I filled in the back end of the eyebrow and eventually use a smaller brush to buff it out towards the front. On my own face, I usually do my brows and my eyes first, and I felt I should have did my mannequin the same way, because look how I'm grabbing her. I'm just choking her. Getting that if you ever leave me. Now I'm just playing, but look, as you can see, I went ahead and grabbed that small brush and just buffed out that hard line that I drew at the bottom, and buffed out some of those strokes in the back, and bring some of that product to the front, because like I told you, look, this stuff feel like drawing on paper with crayons. That's a great comparison. But I just took, this is just leftover product, and I just brought it to the front, and as you can see, just trying to buff out some of those harsh lines to try to give it a real brow look. It was pretty easy to just follow the outline that was given to you and just perfect that. And then it was really like at this point that I realized, like, this lady right side of her face is giving a stroke because it's not symmetrical. But I was trying to give y'all a good angle and still be able to do it and without making myself uncomfortable. So I figured out an angle and then started working on her other side of her brow. Sorry you all can't see. But yeah, as you can see, like here, that's kind of how I filled it in on the back end. And it doesn't take much. A little bit goes a long way with her. And then I kind of like to drag that lower brow line towards the center of her face, just so when I buff it out, it just gives more realness. I got towards the end of her brow, like I could have sworn my other one stopped by her ear somewhere, and I was like, yeah, one brow was longer than the other, but we may manage. And as you can see, just doing a little technique where we just drag that out to the front. So that's her brows. As you can see, that came out pretty decent. At this point on, I'm just buffing it out, doing the finishing touches before I start concealing it. To conceal her, I use my Tarte Shape Tape. I'm not pretty sure which tone it is because I have so many of them. I just eyeball it. So to conceal her, I prefer to use up and down motions over horizontal motions, simply because it gives me more control over the eyebrow shape. And as you can see, baby girl needed damage control. Look how it's given on that side. So now we're going to come over to the right side and just do the same thing. Shape out her brow using concealer. And this isn't really even considered an up and down motion. I kind of feel like I'm just patting the product as I go along. Now look at her. It's giving boss, bitch. Okay, girl, it's coming together. So then after this, you want to take a little fluffy brush and just try to like buff that out. I did it like in little circular motions, just to spread the product out and give it that glow. No, I'm just playing. Give it a highlighted look. Let me stop playing so much. I'm sorry, y'all. But do it on that side too as well. Just like buff it out. This whole thing is just an illusion. And I seen another TikTok say this is so therapeutic. This wasn't therapeutic to me. It was very I hope I get it right, but I still like doing it nonetheless. Look at that. Give it that little look in the front. You know what I'm talking about. Now I'm about to prime her with my P. Louise base, because we're doing a neon look, of course. And I just wanted to cancel out that dark as much as possible. But it seems like every time I go in with the fluffy brush, I wipe it off and it's like back dark again. But I said skip it. Let's go. Went in with my Take Me to Brazil palette. I kind of use that as a base because I do have loose neon pigment that I laid on top of the eyeshadow. So I decided to do neon pink, orange, yellow, green, and blue. And like I said, you just want to lay it on in a patting motion because, as you can see, the black is still seeping through. And that was irritating me. So I decided to spray it with a little Got to Be and go and apply the loose pigment again and see if it helps stick. And it did a little bit. So I just repeated the process until it was bright enough to my liking. And at this point, I tried to go like above it and do like a brown, because I don't want to do too much. And eventually I did decide to just use foundation to clean that up. And it looked nice. I went in with a wing, did my wing liner using my NYX pen. And then I just did that on both sides. Then I just went back in with the pigment. I went back in with the pigment so much because I wanted it to be bright and vibrant. And then I started to work with the foundation. Then decided it's time to work on her lower lash line. Did her lower lash line with the NYX pen first. And then I decided I wanted to do glitter. So I coated her lower lash line with glue and decided to use the colors that I used up top, which is pink, orange, yellow, green, and blue. As you can see, this whole process is tedious, but well worth it. I eventually decided that I wanted it to pop like the top, and decided to just go ahead and lay the loose pigment on top of the glitter just to give it like more of a pop. I noticed that the pigment adhered to the glitter and glue much easier than it did up top. That was probably the easiest part of the whole thing, and it had a little sparkle behind it, which made it look very pretty. Went back in with my eyeliner just to fix things up. Used my foundation brush to clean things up, and do the same thing on the other side. Use my glue, line the lower lash line, go back in with my glitters, and repeat the same thing with the loose pigment. Now look at my girl. It's giving carnival. Trinidad. Giving the girls. Okay, so now we're going to go in and start doing our highlighting and contouring with the same Tarte Shape Tape that I use for the brows. I just highlight the spots that I'm going to highlight. Well, I did the top portion of her face first. Hitting those spots like her nose bone, under the eyes, and the center of her forehead. Then I use my beauty blender and just buff that out. Like I said, less is more. And we're just going to continue to buff that out. And she's coming along really nicely. I'm very impressed, especially for it to be my first time, or any time for that matter. Because at first I didn't know if I wanted to play it safe and do dark colors, but I live for life on the edge, so I just said let's go for it. And we did. So now we're going to highlight the bottom half of her face. That includes like the lower jawbone, middle of her lip, and her chin. And then we're just gonna buff that out. Did that off camera. Now we're gonna let her bake. And look at it, just messy. Now it's time for contouring, and I'm going to go in using my black opal in the shade Nutmeg and just hit the places that you normally contour. And then I just did small lines because, like I said, less is more, and then just buff it out a little bit because I am going to use a powder to set that as well. Then I just used a brown eyeshadow to set the contouring that I did. While I was off camera, I went ahead and added some lashes and bottom lashes. I also took the liberty to get rid of the excess product that was in her eyelids, and I just decided to keep her lips pink. As you can see now, I'm using my Juvia's Place palette to highlight her, giving her that glow, and it's giving the girls. I felt like at this point I've did enough, and I just put a wig on her just to see how she's gonna look. Go ahead and hit that clavicle, that little collarbone over there, give that some glow and dimension. And yeah, she's a go for me. I use these lashes from my lash line called Lilac. They're a bit on the heavy side, on the dramatic side, which is what I wanted to give, especially with all of these colors. But look at her, it's giving. Easy, breezy, beautiful. Cover girl. Now let's get into it. Yes, colors popping. Glow. Yeah, she's gonna sell all of my wigs, girl. Yes.